What's cooking at the Texas legislature? I spent the whole day there, 9 hours, Saturday, July 22nd, at the Senate Business and Commerce Committee hearing. They heard 3 main bills while I was there, and I gotta tell you, it stinks. The first bill they talked about was Senate Bill 8, and what they ended up voting on was that a woman who wants to get an abortion cannot have it paid for by her health insurance coverage unless she buys a supplemental program. That means when she is looking at all her premiums, she and her family, if she does not think ahead of time, someday during the coverage of this policy, I might have an unwanted pregnancy, she is not going to be able to have that paid for through her insurance. Some companies won't even offer a supplemental policy. And if you can believe this, there is no exception in the case of rape. So if a woman does not anticipate when she's trying to save money on her premiums that she might get raped and get pregnant and does not pay extra money for insurance at that time, if the company even offers it, she has to find a way to get a safe abortion and pay for it out of her own pocket. So basically, her rights are crumbled. The second Senate bill that passed, despite hours of testimony against it, was Senate Bill 13. Now that is one I actually waited 6 hours to testify against myself. It's about building permits and about fast-tracking people to get approval if the city misses the deadline. Right now, the city, at least in Austin, has 45 days to either approve or disapprove of a permit. If they miss that deadline now in 30 days, automatic approval. That means that no matter what you're going to build, how safe it's going to be, whether it's a deck in your backyard or a 53-level skyscraper downtown somewhere, if that city official is 1 day late in responding to you properly, then you get an automatic pass to build whatever kind of house of cards you want. Now, the part that I testified against was the part that affects workers' rights, and it crushes them. Right now, Austin has elected to pay workers $13.50 an hour for their work in the construction industry, and if a builder agrees to do that, they can get a bit of a fast track on their permitting process. Not anymore. The Senate now is telling us that we have to go back to the federal minimum wage level of $7.25. That means that your annual salary is $15,000 a year before anything is deducted for Social Security or any other type of taxes. After taxes, that's $13,000 a year. If 2 people earning that have 2 children, a family of 4, they have to go on food stamps, they have to go on Medicaid, and if there's not supplemental housing to help them, they're going to be homeless. So say goodbye to fair wages for people working in one of our most dangerous industries. Construction workers are now going to be paid crumbs. The other part of this bill that I testified against has to do with worker safety. Right now, Austin and other cities can have a third-party organization like the Workers' Defense Fund on site to make sure that the workers are following safety procedures. They've had the training, they have the right equipment, and they are doing the job as safely as possible. Not anymore. Now, Austin and other cities are prohibited from requiring that a builder have a third-party safety monitoring group on site. Texas ranks number 1 in occupational fatal injuries. That means people killed on the job. We have over 500 workers a year that are killed on the job in Texas. State number 2, California, has a little over 300. We rank nationally 11% of all people killed on the job are in Texas. Now we need more safety for Texans who work in the construction industry, not less. The third bill that received a lot of attention yesterday was Senate Bill 14, which proposes that a property owner has the right to get rid of any trees or vegetation on his or her property that they want to. Out of hours and hours of testimony, probably over 60 people, 3 or 4 might have been for the bill, and everybody else was against it. City officials from Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Galveston, Houston, Sugar Land, Del Rio, and Fort Worth all testified against this bill. They've all worked out procedures within their own communities for people to apply for permits to get rid of trees when they want to. What was also very interesting was that a retired general came and said that military bases have to have at least a 5-mile radius of trees surrounding the military base so they can train safely. Otherwise, all the animals, and especially the birds that would have been in that radius of trees, go onto the base. And they've actually had airmen die because of birds interfering with planes. He said that if this bill goes forward and the military bases no longer have this buffer of trees, that they are going to have to pull out of Texas, and that is going to be the loss of billions with a B, quoting him, billions with a B, of dollars to Texas for all of our state agencies that are so important. The most moving testimony came from a young girl who was only 11 years old from Houston. She talked about looking at the tree outside of her bedroom window and watching the birds build their nests there, and in the spring the mother birds feed the baby birds. Obviously, this testimony did not move the Senate committee, other than Senators Whitmire and Zaffirini, who voted against the bill and who voted against the other two bills. So unfortunately, what the Texas legislature was serving up yesterday was very, very bad indeed. Texans are smart, we're compassionate, and we have an enormous sense of fair play. As your state representative, I'll make sure our laws are fair to everybody. And it's going to smell a lot better in the kitchen from now on. I'm Sheri, and I'm running for State Representative, District 47.